Latibola here, and I am back with the fourth installation of What Would Kelly Make? And today we're going to be working with Roses for You and hand-drawn hearts background. And usually when I'm picking the parcels, and you can see all of the parcels in the full card video, I am usually picking them based on the technique that I want to do. So when I saw this hearts background, I thought, oh my gosh, we could do the vibrant colors with the black background and kind of make our own pattern paper. And so that's how I ended up picking it this time. So what I'm doing is I'm starting with just plain white cardstock, and I'm going to ink up a background with distress ink. I wanted to go with a ombre type look that would go from a dark red to fade up into white. And so I'm starting with picked raspberry, and I'm just going from the right hand side, not all the way up. And I have a tendency, because I go over my backgrounds twice usually to get a better blend, I'm not real particular in the beginning, and also I give myself a lot of white space when I want to fade to white, because I have been known to just take over that whole white area trying to get a good blend. So I'm starting with the picked raspberry, and I'm going to work with that until I'm happy with the color saturation at the bottom. Not so worried about the top right now. And then I'm going to move on to the candied apple, and I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm not completely covering the pink. I'm going to do fired brick and then go all the way out to the aged mahogany. And you can see as we're putting on more and more color, the right hand side is getting more saturated. From the aged mahogany, I'm going to work all the way back up to the picked raspberry, and this is just, I feel like, gives me the best blend, but you do your distressings however you normally do them. So once I'm done with that, we're going to do an emboss resist, which means we're going to be heat embossing, but this is the step not to skip. So you'll see I'm showing you that distress inks are created to emboss with. They stay wet for a long time. You have to heat set your panel. Everybody has like that, oh, I tried this thing from Pinterest or YouTube or whatever and it didn't work. That is the step. If you skip the heat setting step, that's going to ruin your entire technique. So I always test it after I heat set it just to make sure. And then I'm going to be using an embossing bag just to make sure that there's nothing sticking to it. You can use a dryer sheet, or they have the dust brushes, whatever works for you. I'm going to use some Versamark and ink up the background. You want to make sure that you get really, really good coverage. And then I find it easier to flip my cardstock onto my stamp and then cover it up with just a piece of typing paper. I keep one hand steady while I move the other hand, applying good pressure just to make sure I get a really good impression. And it's kind of like making your own pattern paper, which I think is super cool. So you could leave it like this, like just the Versamark will dry and it won't resist anything, but it's a super cool look. So now I'm going to use some clear embossing powder to get the resist part of it. So once I have good coverage on that, and because I use that embossing buddy, I really didn't get any stray embossing powder where I didn't want it. It pretty much just went exactly where it was supposed to go. So I'm going to heat set that, which is always like a little bit of magic watching embossing powder melt. I love that. And then again, you could stop at this point. Now that's not the technique we're doing, but it's still pretty. Like, it's very subtle, little hearts in the background, super cute. We're going to keep right on going because I love bright colors with black. I just always have. I think they're super pretty and makes it pop. So I'm going back in with black soot distress ink, and I'm applying it directly from the pad to my paper, kind of wiggling it around, making sure that I'm getting in between all of those hearts. It sometimes, dependent upon the background stamp you've decided to use, it can be difficult to get into the crevices. So oftentimes I'll go back in with the ink blending tool just to make sure that I have everything in all of the little cracks and crevices. So it really does look like pattern paper. It is kind of a messy technique. That's why you saw me like holding the paper towel there. But still, I think totally worth it. I go over the embossing, because you're going to have some ink that sits on top. I go over it with a dry paper towel, and then I go over it again either with a slightly damp baby wipe, or in this case I'm using my stamp cleaning chamois, just slightly damp, and I'm just going to swipe it over to clean off that top layer, and that's really, really going to make those colors pop. So I was super happy with the way that it turned out. This is the technique video if you would like to see how I use this background in making my card, you can head over to the full card video and it will show you all of that. So I hope you guys will try this, and hopefully I will see you over on the full card video. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.